Bring in the Minister of State for Education, Professor Ahmad. She joins me live from our studio in Abuja. Professor Ahmad, thanks for joining us on the program this evening.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like us to begin our conversation with the issue of out-of-school children in Nigeria. According to UNICEF, 1 in 3 children is out of school in Nigeria, representing about 10.2 million at the primary school level. And there's 8.1 million children at the junior secondary school level. Do you consider this figure accurate, or what figures the ministry working with?
The figure we are working with right now is, let me start that we are all aware that we have a high population of out-of-school children. And there are different statistics out there. But then we are accepting that of UNESCO. But the ministry is working to ensure that we have our own data source. It's one of the initiatives that we are doing, and it's part of the key priority area of this administration. So for now, we are also working with that statistics, and it's high, but then we are working on different initiatives and programs to tackle the issue of out-of-school children. Part of those initiatives, as you are aware, we have initiatives that are targeting access. There are different factors affecting the access. So we are targeting both increasing the enrollment and also targeting those that are out of school, drop out, those that have never enrolled in school. How do we ensure that they become functional members of that society? In terms of targeting enrollment, we have issues around school feeding. We have initiative that has to do with conditional cash transfer. We also have the Luminah program, which is the Girl Child Education Initiative. While for those that have dropped out of school, we are targeting them by enrolling them also, using also a model that we are perfecting to ensure that we get them back enrolled in school. But at the same time, we are also expanding their opportunity by creating vocational training for them, skill acquisition training. Right now, we are doing mapping, and that is an initiative that is actually working towards giving skills to adults that have dropped out of school, to school-going age children, maybe that for one reason or the other may prepare to have skills rather than enroll back in school, like children that are 15, 16, 17, or even graduates that have actually graduated but are looking for a skill. So we want to create that opportunity for the Nigerian youth. We have vocational enterprise, and then we have the skill acquisition centers that we are mapping, and then we have also done mapping of about 15 skills when we did skill gap analysis. So we're going to do training for this. This is a program that will soon be actually launched probably in April. We are targeting April or latest by May, and we are going to do a lot of sensitization and advocacy so that people knows about this initiative and these programs, and they can key into that.
Sounds like a whole lot of programs in the pipeline. On one hand is the out-of-school children, on the other hand is also the quality of education that takes place in these schools. According to the Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey in 2021, they say 3 in 4 children aged between 7 to 14 years cannot read with understanding or even solve a simple mathematics problem. We had Dr. Lausa also linking girl-child education to breaking poverty cycles. Perhaps you want to break it down for us. Precisely, how does this Luminah initiative specifically support girls' education and empowerment?
Okay, now we have 2 issues that you have raised, the issue of the quality education and then the issue of girls' education. Let me start with the Luminah program, which is the Girls' Education Initiative. The Luminah program is targeting access. As you are aware, sometimes some of these girls are having problem with access to the schooling. So we are targeting those girls that have problem with access. The Luminah program is 3 phases. It has phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. The phase 1 we refer to as the root, and then we have the phase 2, which we refer to as the stem, and then the phase 3, which we refer to as the bloom. Why I say access is we have students, we have children, girl child at rural location, that the nearest school to the community may be 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, or even 5 kilometers. For this girl child, her parents may not be comfortable with allowing her to go that distance to attend a school, and may lead to her not being enrolled in school. At the same time also, we have girls also that have dropped out of school for various reasons. Some of them, it has to do with issues around early pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, and they dropped out of school. Probably by the time they drop out of school, it may take them 2 years for them to come back and say they want to re-enroll in school. By the time they want to re-enroll, they cannot fit into their age group because already their age mates have passed those classes that they have left school. And then they are too adult, or they are overage for the class that they drop out of. So this kind of category of student also find it very difficult to actually be enrolled into the school. So we want to give them that access also. And then we have girl child that for various number of reasons, which you and we are aware that one of such reasons is poverty, may have never been enrolled in school. So we want to give that access to this girl. What is the Luminah program? With the Luminah program, as I mentioned, we have the 3 phases. The root phase is where we are targeting the mothers. Because really, economic statistics have proven that if a mother is economically viable, then you are reducing the poverty level of that family. So we are targeting the mothers. We want to give them short training. We are doing gap analysis, also skill gap analysis and product availability that the market wants. So what we want to do is we want to create a situation whereby we give these mothers a skill in terms of what is the market demand in that location. Right. Let me take, for instance, let's say Kaduna. In Kaduna, we may say that in this particular locality, they have a market for this particular product. Then we go and train these mothers in that particular trade. And then we are also doing PPP here. We are talking with private partners. We are talking with market people. Okay, what is it? What commodity do you want in the market that if we get mothers that can be able to produce this, you will mop it up. And you can set up an aggregation center where these mothers that we have trained and have given we have gotten them either a soft loan or a grant for them to start production. They can produce and then you can buy it off them and then of course you pay them. So we are doing this discussion. In fact, we already have marketers that have indicated interest in petroleum jelly, have indicated interest in incense. So we're already talking with them. We are mapping them, those that they have, and we are going into partnership with them to set up aggregation center in a state within a locality that we are piloting this Luminah program. So, but the caveat for a mother to be trained in the roots is that they must enroll a girl child in the STEM. So it could be your daughter, it could be a relative, or it could even be a neighbor. But we need you to enroll or re-enroll a girl child into the STEM. The STEM is a normal basic education, targeting girl child between the age of 5 to 15. What we want to do is we want to do a mobile schooling. As I said, we are targeting communities that have issues with access. They don't have school within that immediate community. So when we do this, we are doing what we refer to as mobile schooling. We have scripted lesson. We want to do offline lesson. We get facilitators. And then we are also going to make use of accelerated curriculum. At the ministry, we have an accelerated curriculum. This accelerated curriculum is like a summary of the 9-year basic education that has been summarized into a 3-year program. We are going to do the training of those facilitators that are going to do the implementation of this accelerated curriculum.
Honourable Minister.
Part of the training, of course.
Yes, it sounds a lot like if you empower the women folk, it gives them the opportunity to allow their children to go to school. We'll talk more about the Girl Child Initiative shortly, but let's take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. I'm joined by the Honourable Minister of State for Education. She's live in our Abuja studio. Thanks for staying the course on the program, Professor Ahmad. We'll get back to this Girl Child Initiative shortly, but I'd like us to also focus on the quality of life of students in our government-owned schools. We are now just tracking a breaking story in Lagos where a 12-year-old student has been confirmed dead after a diphtheria outbreak that has hospitalized more than 14 students in King's College. I'm wondering how the ministry is reacting to this.
Before I go into that, I would like to talk briefly about quality education, because it's one of the questions that you raised, which we also have some initiatives on that. Because as you mentioned, as you rightly mentioned, a lot of, we are about 45 million children are being considered as learning poor because they could not read age-appropriate text. So we have initiative targeting improving quality. That's part of the committees that were inaugurated this week. So what we want to do there is we are looking at the quality of teachers. We are also empowering quality assurance unit both at the state, and of course, as we are aware, education is on the concurrent list. We have limited number of schools. It's the states that have the schools. So we are in discussion, and we are going to support the state to empower the quality assurance unit in the state and also at the local government level. And we are going to do that by ensuring that we do proper training. We are also digitizing the tool for quality assurance, and we are also going to make use of geomapping. This is just a summary of what we want to do. At the same time, also, we are embarking on what we refer to as school grading, whereby all the schools in Nigeria are going to be graded. We have 4 levels. That is excellent, good, average, and then below average. So that when we want to intervene in a school, the BEC funding that goes into basic education will now directly intervene at the school level, whereby we support the states to target schools, and they target the school by trying to move them across these grade levels. So we are doing targeted interventions. At the same time, also, we are looking at the teachers in terms of capacity training and capacity building. So we are looking at both the pre-service teachers and in-service teachers. For the pre-service teachers, we are looking at the curriculum, we are reviewing the curriculum, and we are also taking into cognizance 21st century developments. AI, digital training, new methods of teaching, and even issues around teachers and society and the passion for teaching, because sometimes you have teachers in school but they are not in their classes. So we are redesigning the curriculum to ensure that it takes care of all the identified gap in what we have now as a country. Then for the in-service teachers also, we want to develop a standard manual for the retraining of teachers. And this standard manual, we are going to do 2 folds of training, both the physical training and also the digital training. Already, we are collaborating with NIDA. NIDA has already perfected a digital training for everyone, including teachers. We want to expand that digital training to include pedagogical content knowledge training for our teachers, so that, because if you are doing physical training, you have limited number of teachers that you can train. But if you are doing virtual training, then you can be able to train as many as possible. Even teachers in rural locations, even teachers in hard-to-reach areas can be able to key into that that training, as far as they have a mobile phone that they can do. And we are going to attach that training to also certification and examination, so that we can be able to ensure that these teachers actually key into this training.
I hear you, Professor Ahmed, and it sounds like a good plan, but we also need the children to be alive. I was calling your attention to the death of a 12-year-old student in King's College, Lagos, following the outbreak of diphtheria in that government-owned school. Interestingly, the Minister of Education, Dr. Lausa, had visited the same school 3 weeks ago, where he noticed an untidy environment, dilapidated buildings, and a prolonged power outage in that school. Reports say overcrowding could have also contributed to the spread of diphtheria in King's College. Is it high time the ministry declared a state of emergency in government-owned schools? Because you need the students alive for all these plans you're talking about to work. Do you agree with me?
What I will want to start is by saying that part of your observation are completely correct. The issue of power, the school has been having problem with the power for a long time. But after the visit of the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, he was able to restore power to King's College. I think about a week after that particular visit, they were able to restore the power. And after that, we had a series of meetings. Even today, we had a meeting with the All Student Association of King's College, where part of the meeting on the agenda is how to ensure that we do renovation. We looked at different aspects, facilities, infrastructure, needed infrastructure. So right now the ministry is working closely with all relevant stakeholders to ensure that our unity colleges are actually revamped in terms of ensuring that we do the necessary renovation, in terms of ensuring that we do the necessary expansion to accommodate the number of students in the school, to ensure that there is no health risks and other associated problems with overpopulated students in a boarding house. At the same time, we are also reviewing the admission policy to ensure that these unity colleges only admit within the capacity that they can be able to take as we are speaking. In terms of the outbreak of that disease, the ministry has been in discussion, and also the Ministry of Health Lagos have been very proactive in terms of visiting the school and advising the school, and they have identified what we need to do at that school to ensure that we stop the spread of this particular disease. So we are doing everything possible to ensure that learners are safe while in our schools.
We have a short time. Perhaps we can discuss the issue of security and access in conflict zones. The North, for instance, has experienced a displacement of more than 2.5 million children in recent years. Are there targeted strategies in this regard to reach out to students in this area, especially girl children, the girl child in conflict zones like Borno State, for them to access education safely? What kind of partnerships are you exploring with security agencies and even the private sector?
The first, what we did is we have reviewed school-based management committee guidelines. And part of the review that we did in these guidelines is to increase the number of security agencies that are going to be part of that SBMC's committees. This school-based management committee, of course, as you're aware, is people that are supporting the school, members of the immediate community that comes together to ensure and support the school in terms of management and other issues. So we have increased security representation in that SBMC. We have reviewed the guidelines, and we are also talking with the state. We have given it out to the states so that they can also domesticate and adapt. One of the key issues here is to ensure that we have appropriate security representation so that they can be able to actually advise the school in terms of being proactive, in terms of ensuring the safety of the students while in school. That's one aspect. And then also issues around school fencing have now been prioritized, and also we did training at the federal level. We did training of our principals. Just I think in this February we did a training of our principals. We invited security personnel to sit down and talk to them in terms of identification of any security issues within school and the reporting channels. So we did that particular training, and we're also going to go into discussion with the states to actually encourage states to also do similar training for their principals and even head teachers. I'm happy to say that, as we are all aware, security challenges are now gradually reducing, and hopefully in the nearest future it will be a distant thing of the past. But we are trying to ensure that every learner that goes to school, every girl child that goes to school is protected while in school.
We're counting on that, but Nigeria's education budget is still about 5% of total expenditure, way below UNESCO's 15% recommendation. We have just about 1 minute to go on this show, but how do you intend to secure sustainable funding for all your initiatives in the coming days?
Education is a priority for this administration. You can see that even in terms of sectors, education comes third in terms of the quantum of money that has been budgeted that goes into education. Of course, education, as we are all aware, is a collective responsibility of everyone. So we have to put our hands together, all relevant stakeholders, donor partners, state governments, and everybody has to have a particular role that he has to play in terms of ensuring that we have an effective effective and efficient education system in the country. So for us, not only have we budgeted for all our programs, all these initiatives that I have mentioned are initiatives that we have budgeted for. At the same time also, we are opening our hands for donor partners and private individuals to come into partnership with us to implement this program. Right. Of course, as a government, we put our money there because we want to ensure that what we want, the needs of our nation is what we are targeting, is what we are pursuing, is what we are actually implementing. And that's why we have budgeted for them. But then at the same time, we are looking for donor partners that will come and support us in terms of implementing those projects.
Good place to leave it. Time is ticking on this administration. We're hoping that all your plans will come to fruition and will benefit the Nigerians whom you are working for. Professor Suwaiba Ahmed is the Honorable Minister of State for Education. Thank you so much for joining us on the program this evening.